As we approach the final days of November, we begin to see the lull in the rearview mirror and look ahead, refueled with the hope that the hunting should be good. As each day passes, fewer does remain in estrus, and the bucks must work harder to find the next one. After a few days of solid hunting, I had to call it quits in Illinois, heading home to Iowa to resume the quest for GQ with Lee Abraham. However, the Illinois action doesn't end there. Team member Chad Holmes is in the middle of his most grueling season to date. Making the 7-hour drive north from Mississippi to hunt his Western Illinois farm, Chad is greeted with hot conditions. However, an incoming cold front passing overnight provides some optimism. He chooses to sit a soft-sided redneck line that's situated on the best food source the farm has to offer, a green plot that was on fire back in early October, and with the current weather, he's hoping green is the ticket once again.
Today is November the 20th, and we are back here in Illinois. We have joined the Orange Army. We still got several mature bucks on camera cruising around looking, so we figured as warm as it is, they'll end being here on this big and beastie this afternoon feeding before that rain comes. I think it's about 61 degrees right now with almost no wind, almost completely calm. The wind will begin to blow out to north, though, here in a couple hours. And it'll be that way for the next couple of days, so the hunting should be really good. Feel pretty good about seeing some deer, that's for sure. Thank you, Lord. I cannot believe we just got this done. It's 3:34, and we just smoked that big 8-point. Oh my goodness. I knew, you just know, as a deer hunter, you've been doing it long enough, you know when a buck's on some does, and sure enough, he come blowing out. But we know this buck well. He's a 6.5-year-old buck, I believe. I know I've got pictures of him back to 2016, so man, I am so thankful, so blessed to have the opportunities that we have, and regardless if I put a tag on one or not, I'm definitely thankful, but I'm a little extra thankful today because I'm about to walk out here and do a recovery on this buck. Wow. Man, oh big boy. Look at the size of that G2. What a buck. What a bruiser.
Just like that, Chad's season turns around and he caps off the great evening celebrating with friends. The following morning, 220 miles to the west, Lee Abraham is gearing up for his hunt. He chooses to kick off his second round of vacation by hunting the transition line between bedding areas, hoping to catch GQ searching.
Well, good morning. It's the morning of November the 21st. We are back in here for round 2 after GQ. We are tight in a bedding area. We got it up super early, got here before dark and got set up. It's kind of an overcast day, northeast wind. But we hung this stand. We're back in here where we hung this stand on November the 2nd, my last evening before my last vacation. It's a spot that we've encountered him several times on the cameras, not necessarily in person. He's been on it's fence kept my south right here several times in the past several weeks. Not always daylight, not always routinely on a consistent basis, but he is here. I know he's looking for does in that last seeking phase. So we are where the does bed in between bedding areas. Round 2, here we go.
With bucks all around him, Lee remains vigilant, watching for the giant wall of tines to pass by in bow range. 130 miles to the northeast, Mike Reed is set up in a new spot along the river.
Saturday, November 21st. Chase and I are down at the riverbottom farm. We're trying something new. We're on the additional acres I purchased this past spring, and we're all the way on the far end of it. Down by the river, we have a northeast wind today. And we haven't had too many north, so I came in on the south side of the farm, and we just snuck up the river and hung this set. I've had the black-eyed tin and a lot of the other bucks in this area. I've never seen Daca Merino back here. We've had constant action since the sun came up. There's that really white antlered 8-point. He's tending a doe back in here from right at the break of daylight until just now. He walked her under the tree. This is that time of year that you can catch a random cruising buck looking for these last available does. At least we're starting to get into that time frame. I think this setup works pretty well for that. Deer just coming and running the river. We got a long stretch of river right here and this little strip of timber alongside of it.
The action is incredible, but despite all of the cruising bucks that come within bow range, GQ isn't amongst them. The fear that the buck is locked down grows, and Lee gets down to come up with his next move. 95 miles to the east, Mike Reed is switching farms for the afternoon hunt.
Well, Chase and I have set up for the afternoon hunt. We have made a switch. We've moved down to my smaller farm down in southern Iowa. It is my first hunt out here this year. I had bought this farm years ago because it was just a quarter mile down the road from my cabin farm that I sold. It butts up against a really, really large timber, holds a lot of deer. And this piece is just 52 acres. It's about 2.5 hours from my house, and I don't get down here very often, but I did kill a buck here in 2018 with Cooper. If you guys remember, it was like a 6.5-year-old mainframe 9 with a split 2. There's always mature bucks in the area. With all this timber, it's probably 800 acres of timber, and for Iowa, that's a pretty big chunk of timber. It's got 15 acres of tillable, and I planted corn here this year, and we just came in and combined it 2 nights ago. So I figured with the fresh cut corn, this spot could be pretty hot. There should be a lot of does feeding here, and that should hopefully draw the attention of some of these bucks. I'd given Grant and Max permission to hunt out here, and so they had come put cameras earlier in the summer. When we pulled those cameras, finally, I had a deer that I recognized from last year. Last year I thought he was 3 or 4. He's a really nice mainframe 10 with some extra points. And this year he looks solid, looks like a really nice 6x6. He's got split brows, he's got some kickers, looks like a really good deer. Anyway, we got fresh cut corn, and I'm excited for a new spot.
With the rest of the evening ahead of him, Mike waits on the multi-brow tine buck to appear in the freshly harvested field. Back in south central Iowa, Lee is making a stand switch for his afternoon hunt.
We are back. It is the afternoon of November the 21st. We are set over this, it's a overcast, more of a milder afternoon, mid-50s northeast wind. So with these milder overcast temps, we're going to try green source this afternoon with this autumn quick plot behind me. We were after GQ. He is our target. We did not see him this morning. We were about 300 yards to the north in a thicket, watching these cruising, trying to catch him cruising. We did see multiple other younger bucks, but not him. He was on this camera, on this plot. I want to say it was 4 days ago, about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Historically, he has been here both during the rut and after. We filmed him last year as a 4-year-old. I had this redneck blind just to my south, 40, 50 yards. So he uses this area, it's his core. It's just a matter of, we think he's likely with the doe given the fact that he hadn't been on camera in several days. So we're hoping that he either brings that doe up to feed here, she comes here to feed with this more milder temps, or he's looking for the next one in estrus. So we can see a pretty good ways here still during the rut. Visibility is key, especially the afternoons when they may be using different feeding pockets with different individual does. This gives us our best opportunity, we feel, and we're gonna give it a shot. We got a couple hours, and let's let it unfold. There's something in that tree line right there. I can't tell what it is yet, please. That's him. I think that's GQ with it. It's got a doe with him. I think it's him. They're in that tree line about halfway down. Yeah, it's definitely a big buck. They should come out in about 10 or 15 yards. He's right behind her. Here they come out.
Yeah, I think it's him.
That him?
I think so. Yeah, it's him.
Alright guys, we're back at the truck. Our fears were confirmed as far as him being with the doe. He made an appearance behind the doe at about 120 yards or so, coming out of bedding behind her, and they stayed. It was about, 20 minutes before end of legal shooting, and they just kind of milled out there and got to within probably, 55, 60 yards, and just wouldn't commit. So, best to our knowledge, he was alone at 2 p.m. on Thursday, so that would be a day and a half ago. They usually, stay with him for at least 48 to 72 hours, and when he comes off, that's when he's going to be most vulnerable. But in the meantime, we have to make a move on try to catching that doe, either coming to a food source or just milling around in a transitional area. So, again, it's a big deer. Good to see him again. It's been, about 3 weeks since I've laid eyes on him. We gained knowledge, we gained information, and it's on, and I'm looking forward to the challenge.
The following morning, Mike is on stand watching the river farm come to life as the sunrise beams through the bottom. Mike enjoys solid action overall, encountering the mature 6x5 buck yet again, adding to the impressive tally sheet for the season. If only Dak or Marino could do the same thing just once. That same morning, Lee Abraham is also hunting. He elects to hunt the redneck blind that is overlooking the long bean field where the previous night's encounter unfolded. Keying in on the green source that GQ and his doe hit mere minutes after Lee exited, the hope is that the doe will pop into the plot at some point during the morning hours. Like Mike, Lee encounters a mature buck, the oldest buck on the entire farm. Knowing that GQ can't be far, Lee returns to the same tree as the evening before.
Okay, it's the afternoon of the 22nd. We were back where we were last night. We encountered the buck with that doe. Pretty drastic change in the conditions. Yesterday was kind of gloomy and overcast, and today is 15-mile-an-hour winds, sunny, and we've already seen one 2-year-old 10-point cruising, a couple of does. So be interesting to see what he does with these different conditions, if he's with the doe, if he's not with the doe. But best odds is to be where he has been, where he was yesterday, and where he's been historically. So, again, he's giving us a run for our money. He's winning every time right now, so maybe we'll get lucky. So stay with us.
Back in eastern Iowa, Mike Reed is making a midday switch after pulling cards reveals a shocking surprise.
Sunday, November 22nd, afternoon hunt, chasing our setup down at the riverbottom farm. We hunted down here this morning. We hunted out of the Prodigy set in the pinch, and we saw the old 6x5. I had intentions of hunting either the north plot or the south plot, so we got down, tore the stand down, and checked cameras. Well, it turns out yesterday I probably should have hunted here instead of going down to my little farm in southern Iowa, because Dak was daylight at 4:15 yesterday afternoon, right here. I assume he came to the pinch. He was on the home camera. We had him at 4:15, then again at 9 p.m. And I was thinking about going sit the north plot with this wind to have a chance at Marino and even another chance at him. Dak has spent the most time on the south plot.
where they killed Bob, where I shot Todd Gurley last year. But as I thought about it, I still feel like the best spot of getting him in bow range, particularly if he's coming this direction, is in the pinch, as opposed to on that food plot. Hopefully, Dak repeats what he did last night and get him in bow range. Little buck.
The chase surrounding Mike inspires hope, but Dak isn't in tow. Back with Lee, the sun is beginning to set on the long bean field.
He's on a mission going down that hill, though. You almost wait till he comes around. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. He comes down. See him? Got him? Good.
Light is faded. We are officially the end of the evening hunt, November 22nd. We saw pretty much just one deer. He went over the hill and went down to the same food plot that where actually Tim Allen killed a few weeks ago. Killed Curly Brow. So a couple options down there for the evening set. In the morning we'll probably be back in that thick bedding we were in two mornings ago. I hope to get him cruising. You know, he is looking for another doe. Hopefully he doesn't find one tonight. They are getting sparse as we're at the tail end of November, so that's to our advantage. One of the reasons why this is the best time of year to hunt as opposed to the middle of the month, is you can get these does that are one or two left in estrus and try to catch them in between those does. So again, in hindsight 2020, maybe should have taken that shot, but again, I thought we'd have a much better opportunity than that. Anyway, I'll beat myself up about it, but it is what it is. We'll move forward with this hunting, and we do this for another day, and we continue the chase.
Lee, Mike, and Chad aren't the only members experiencing great action. 525 miles to the northeast, Adam Reeder is in the Michigan hardwoods hunting the firearm season.
Well, here he is. I'm at a loss for words. This is definitely my biggest buck to date, and I don't know what else to say. What a beautiful animal, and to God be the glory. Without him, none of this would be possible.
450 miles to the south, Josh Honeycutt and his father Marty are hunting Kentucky. Set up in the same stand Josh tagged a great buck in earlier in October.
We're settled in here in the sunglasses stand, and this is where I killed my deer back during the early muzzleloader season, the same exact tree stand. My dad's actually in the primary stand above me just because he's got a better view up there. Everybody but my dad has filled their buck tags so far. He's the last man standing as far as that goes, and we're hoping we can get him one before the bell tolls. We still got a week of gun season, and then bow season, and then muzzleloader, and then bow again, so there's plenty of time to get it done, but hopefully we can get him on one this afternoon.
The big 9 just come over the hill. It just shot. Looked like a great shot on him. We're fixing to go down and see if we can find him. He's right on the edge of the CRP. There he is. That's a stud.
He's a good one.
Yeah. Hot dogs. Thank you, old boy. Put it right there. Finally.
Well, it turns out yesterday I probably should have hunted here instead of going down to my little farm in southern Iowa, because DAC was daylight at 4:15 yesterday afternoon, and went down to the same food plot that we're actually Tim Allen killed a few weeks ago. We hope to get him cruising. He is looking for another doe. Hopefully he doesn't find one tonight. They are getting sparse. He lives for another day, and we continue the chase.
I knew, you just know, as a deer hunter, you've been doing it long enough, you know when a buck's on some does, and sure enough, he come blowing out.
My biggest buck to date. To God be the glory. Without him, none of this would be possible.
Man, it's just a fun hunt, and classic example, you just never know what's going to happen this time of the year.
The past 3 days of hunting supplied us with enough up and down drama to satisfy a full chapter. Chad Holmes finally broke the ice on his Illinois farm, and Adam Reeder shot his best buck to date. True to his word, Josh Honeycutt dedicated the rest of his Kentucky season to creating memories with family and friends. A moment father and son will never forget. Marty's success will be celebrated for the days to come. Mike Reed's November continues to be full of close calls. Despite narrowly missing DAC moving in daylight, Mike maintains hope for an opportunity at the giant riverbottom buck. Lee Abraham's saga with GQ has been a whirlwind. The past 48 hours has been filled with incredible buck action across the board. And despite his target making every right move to roam the farm another day, GQ is finally off of his doe and hopes are high for another encounter with the Iowa Giant. The Rut's final performance is here, and those with tags understand the opportunity in front of them. With fewer hot does remaining in estrus, the mature bucks are on their feet searching, opening a window of action for a few short days at the tail end of the annual chase. Morning hunts can still produce great hunting, evidenced by Lee Abraham's intense, close-quarters buck encounters. Soon, though, bucks and food will become synonymous, and our efforts will be focused on this in the afternoons. Unable to ignore the tension, a newfound heaviness is creeping in over us. The ticking clock on the best month of the year is almost up, and as much as we enjoy the success, the journey is what keeps us coming back each season. With just over 1 week remaining, we realize it will soon be a full year before we are once again chasing November.